You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, that was freaking awesome. Will the Thrill putting the Dodgers over the top in the 11th, 7-6. A back and forth battle, to say the least. I told you Will Smith's the best hitter on that team. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done, and this one is finally over. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Today, you're making us your first listen, and I appreciate you for doing that. During the week, Jeff and Vince are your first listen for the Locked On Dodgers podcast. And then after the game, I come on and break it down for you. 7-6-11. The Diamond Dogs list is overflowing. And Will Smith, ironically, not even on it, even though he had the game-winning RBI. He deserves honorable mention for sure. There's just a lot to dig into on this one. A huge come-from-behind win for the Dodgers after blowing the lead too many times to count, surrendering home runs on bad pitches. The bullpen somehow figures out how to get out of it. I put this on the back of Kike Hernandez. Although Will Smith got the game-winning RBI, Kike Hernandez was the most impactful player off the bench for the Dodgers in this one. They win the series over the Red Sox, and tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Well, basically, we had a first 4 or 5 innings that were fairly mundane. That's been fairly typical for the Dodgers. Bayo has a very nice sinker, and he had the Dodgers baffled there for a good portion of the game, except for Gavin Lux, who had a double and a home run and then gets pulled out of the game. I wrote that down on my notes. I think I scratched it out potentially. What the hell are you doing? Oh, it's still there. Pinch hitting for Gavin Lux with Kike Hernandez? Seriously? Is what I wrote. I mean, Kike still could have had that game, and Gavin could have still been in the game. But it turned out to be a good call. So I guess I have to give credit to Dave Roberts for that. But ultimately, this was about clutch hitting in the end. And yes, they got to Kenley Jansen, and I was sitting there with the thoughts in my head of, why don't we have him on the team anymore? Why'd they let him get away? Oh, I mean, that's a good reason. He's still lights out. That's the first home run he's given up all year. And it wasn't a terrible pitch. It just didn't cut as much as it normally does. And Kike was just sitting on that ball right over the middle and torched it. Crushed that ball to left field. He was absolutely clutch tonight, Craig. You are so right. I dropped an F-bomb in the living room during that one. I was like, F-ing Kike. Because I feel like Kike's a hustler and a good player, but he's just not super clutch. Well, eat my words today. Pajes with a clutch hit. Freeman, Hernandez, nice performances. Chris Taylor even came through for the Dodgers. But all in all, Shohei, another nice evening at the Ravine. Nothing major, but wasn't unfocused, I guess would be the best way to describe Shohei Ohtani at times. When he's not focused, he's very focused, which is why he's still a great hitter, even though he sometimes is looking ugly with lots of strikeouts, swinging at bad pitches. None of that today. So maybe the 3 Ks yesterday kind of got him refocused a little bit, but no Ks today. And even Wainwright commented on the fact that it feels like at times you see Shohei go up there and he kind of just lets loose on one, sometimes two pitches, and then we'll dial in on an 0-2 pitch or a 1-2 pitch and focus a little bit more. I don't always see that. I feel like at times he goes up there and he's flailing at everything. Doesn't matter the count, doesn't matter anything, doesn't matter the situation with runners on. He's just swinging from his shoelaces. There are other times like today, he looks very focused and has very, very productive, good at bats. And that's what we saw from him today. So I guess you got to take the good with the bad. I did not like the move of taking Wrobleski out of the game. 4 1/3 innings, and he had the Red Sox baffled. I think this game is over a lot sooner. It's a lot more dominant for the Dodgers if they leave Wrobleski in there and do not bring in Yohan Ramirez. Again, we've discussed it in depth here at times as to whether or not Dave Roberts has a soft spot for Yohan Ramirez after the whole hugging, arms around the neck incident on the mound 2 months ago. And right after that, Ramirez found it and has been really good at times, but of late has been shaky. And I don't think Dave Roberts sees that. I feel like at times he brings him in a situation where there is a better option. Like I would have liked Joe Kelly in that position a whole lot more than after Yohan comes in and gives up 3 runs. Wrobleski gave up no runs on 3 hits with 5 Ks. And then in a blink of an eye, Ramirez gives up 2 runs on 3 hits. So that wasn't, to me, a good play. And it was all about pitch count, which again, Wainwright commented on, said, I don't like that. But again, I don't have to like it. I'm up here and not down there. But I really, I don't know if I've heard Wainwright do a game before. I really, really enjoy that. Who was that Fox Sportscaster with Joe Davis? You could tell he was pulling for Boston. That's Wainwright, Roy. He was not. He's a St. Louis Cardinal. He said it more than once that, he didn't have a horse in the race anymore or the dog in the fight. Mr. Seabed, he just wants somebody fired. Fired Joey Cora. I thought Wainwright was good. I thought he had a very honest, forthright player perspective, and it was good. But yeah, I appreciated what he said there when he just like, why are we pulling this guy out? We've heard talk about they want Robo to get deeper into games past the 17th or the 18th hitter. And they get to that point and they yank him. 83 pitches. Come on. It's ridiculous. Pitch count for young pitchers is the dumbest thing in baseball, right up there with framing pitches by catchers. The pitch count thing on young pitchers for me is stupid. I don't know, Roy. This happens to what's the former Atlanta Braves pitcher that's on the Fox broadcast quite frequently? John. Yeah, blanking on his name right now. But that guy gets criticized all the time as well for rooting against the Dodgers. I don't see that. Roy says he was pulling for Boston. You could hear in his voice, neither here nor there, we won. Yeah, I know. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I don't hear that. I the same thing with come on, Craig, help me out here. What's the guy that does color on Fox all the time? The former Atlanta Braves pitcher, Hall of Famer, John, Jeff, Joe, Jim Smoltz. Thank you, Roy, to the rescue. John Smoltz. He gets criticized for rooting against the Dodgers all the time too, especially in the playoffs. I don't hear it. I think he's brilliant as well. Okay, brilliant's a strong word. I'm sorry. Retract. Very, very good at his job. So, this is what they like on Fox. They like guys that are former players that have a real perspective that's fairly recent. Smoltz is a little bit older. Karros, another one of those guys that brings it. I thought Wainwright was good. I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought it was good. I didn't think he was rooting against the Dodgers, but that's your opinion. That's fine. I think Fox does a pretty good job of mixing it up. Unfortunately, they're absolutely in love with Joe Davis. That's the one that I'm like, can we find somebody else? Nothing against Joe Davis. I think he's okay. I just am not in love with Joe Davis. And I understand that it is nearly impossible to fill the shoes of Vin Scully. Nearly impossible, if not completely impossible. And that was his job. So based on that, I have a certain feeling about Joe Davis, right? But I just feel like he's just okay, right? I feel like he's a little cheesy. He's a little corny. I know sometimes people criticize him for being too relaxed. I don't have a problem with that. I just feel like he's corny sometimes. And he's very smooth. He's very informative. He does all the right things. I just don't think he has any real personality. His personality is cornball. It's fabricated and made up. And what was the comment? He's no Joe Buck, or he's the next to Joe Buck. I like Joe Buck too. Joe Buck and John Smoltz, to me, awesome. That was a great pairing. Nando, couldn't disagree with me more. Joe Buck and Smoltz were trash. Oh boy. Anyway, got a little sidetracked there, but I thought Wainwright brought a lot to this game and was very, very informative and spoke the truth. And part of it was he said things that I agree with and things that I've said, like Chris Taylor's just late. He's late on pitches, except when it counts. A big hit for Chris Taylor. He made it on the Diamond Dogs list today in extra innings for the Dodgers. So that was huge. We'll talk about that next. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Thank you to all the everydayers for checking us out here on the weekend and making us your first listen. We'll do the Diamond Dogs list right after the break. All right, today's episode brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, with summer travel heating up, it's full swing right now, especially travel for baseball games. We're on the downside of the All-Star break, and it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to, but maybe didn't really feel the need to learn more about because they are your rivals city. There's hotels, beds and breakfasts, bed and breakfasts, vacation rental, resorts, and so much more. There are a lot of cool things to see in a lot of different cities, including the city of your favorite team's rival. For example, with the Dodgers, I'm heading off to Phoenix in a week from tomorrow, and it's going to be hot. Fortunately, it's not Dodgers Diamondbacks. I don't even know who they're playing, but I would consider that a fantastic city to check out this time of year, even though it's hot. Based on the weather, it's on sale. Phoenix is a discount this time of year. So give it a shot, or as we talked about yesterday, check out Boston. I don't know, the Dodgers and Red Sox are big rivals, but they have a history, that's for sure. And Boston is a very, very cool city. So I've been told. I've never been there, mainly because I don't like the Red Sox, and that's not fair. So I should check out Boston, and at some point in time, I will. I've heard the New England area is absolutely fantastic. I'm also not a Yankees fan, but I do love New York City. Manhattan is awesome. The Bronx are a great place to visit. So check it out. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rival city. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or on the Booking.com app. Tonight's show also brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more or less, 2 to 6 players, and their stat projection, and watch the winnings roll in. I had a fortunate technical error last night. I was trying to place a Prize Picks on the Open Championship. I thought Rosie was going to have a good day. I thought this Dustin Brown guy was also going to have a good day. Daniel Brown, sorry. And or I thought Daniel Brown would not have a good day. I thought he was going to kind of falter. He faltered a little bit, but not as much as I thought. So based on the technical mishap, I did not get my stat projection in, and consequently, I was a winner. So that's good. Sometimes it's better to just have a no play than a go play. They've also got the Demons and Goblins, the newest and most exciting way to play Prize Picks. Squares with the Red Demons pay more, a little bit harder to hit. The Green Goblins pay less, and they're a little bit easier to hit. So check those out with the Red Demons. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 picks. They also have promotions like lowering stat projections on Tuesday and getting your entries fee back on Fridays. Prize Picks is now available in more than 30 states like Georgia, Texas, and California. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use that code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. PrizePicks.com. All right, Dodgers with an extra inning heroic 7-6 win on the back of Kike Hernandez, who had a huge home run in the 9th inning to get the Dodgers tied. And to me, that was the biggest play of this game. So let's get to number 5 on the Diamond Dogs list and break him down in that order. And it's not really most impressive to less impressive. It's just as they happen in the game, right? Because obviously at the end of the game, things are a little bit more important. So for number 5, Gavin Lux, that home run got the Dodgers on the board. And at that point, Bayo had them pretty baffled. He had a tough time, or they had a tough time dealing with him. And he was dominating there for a good portion of those first 5 innings. But Gavin Lux got on the board in the 4th with a 380-foot home run. It was a 2-2 sinker. It came in the 2nd, rather. Other than that, they had a lot of problems with him and couldn't really get to Bayo at all. It was his 4th home run of the year. That's the 4th. And a 381-foot job there from Gavin Lux. And then for number 4, Teoscar Hernandez, a game-tying RBI in the 6th. That was very clutch as well. For number 3, Gavin Lux again, a 1-out double to right in the 5th. Fastball up and in, and he absolutely roped it, but it didn't do enough to keep him in the game. Dave Roberts pulled him for Kike, which ultimately ended up being the right call. Not a call that I would have made. I don't care about lefty righty when a guy's locked in. They don't ever pull Shohei Ohtani out of the game when it's lefty righty. He's in there no matter what. Gavin Lux was locked in today. I know he doesn't have a big high, heavy game. And even when Kike came in, he struck out the first at bat, but ultimately was clutch and got the Dodgers back square in the 9th inning. For number 2, it was Shohei Ohtani. A slider hammered to left in the 6th inning. It was a really nice piece of hitting from him. First ball, and he just jumped all over it, hammered it to left, and that led off the 6th inning, which was a big inning for the Dodgers. And then for number 1, Kike Hernandez, 2 times. Obviously, the game-tying RBI in the 10th, that was huge. But to me, the biggest moment of this game was the 9th inning when Kike Hernandez just blasted that home run off of Kenley Jansen, a 93-mile-an-hour cutter just right over the plate, his 6th home run of the year, the first one that Kenley's given up all season. So just a big day for Kike Hernandez. Of course, Will Smith got the game-winning RBI in the 11th, so definitely honorable mention or game-changing moments. I don't know what you would call that. The most, the most necessary play of the game. But, also Chris Taylor, 9th inning double down the line. That was huge. And then Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez also had good games. Freddie Freeman had some clutch hits, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored, and Teo 2 for 5 with an RBI. Pajes 1 for 3 with 2 RBI. So all of those guys really deserve to be mentioned today on the Diamond Dogs list because they all took care of business. And then we can't overlook the fact that there was a defensive play on the Diamond Dogs list that I had to take off because there is so much offense. But Teoscar Hernandez, a beautiful assist in left field to gun down a runner for a inning-ending double play at third base. That was fantastic as well. So this is a big win for the Dodgers because it was just a great game, back and forth, a lot of high leverage action going on. The Dodgers at times, you felt as you were watching this game that they were down and out, and oh, that's strike three. Oh, this game is over, and they would come through. Even Kevin Biggio, who hasn't been worth a hill of beans, comes through with a very clutch sacrifice bunt after taking one off the knuckles. I mean, how about that? Just to get back in there and lay down a very, very nice textbook bunt that moved Kike to third, and then the base hit from Will Smith to score Kike. So Kike was just all over the place. Runs, scoring, RBIs, et cetera. Just a huge day for him. And hopefully the elasticity of the Dodgers in this game will help them in the long run. I feel like bouncing back multiple times for them is going to help out in the long run, down the road. This will be a game that they can look back on and use as momentum, use as inspiration in tough spots through the remainder of the season and into the playoffs. So this is just all good. Jesus has a question from a few shows ago before the All-Star break. How is the AC? Well, it turned out the AC in the house, which I said is brand new. It's a couple years old. It was a very, very minor repair. It's just, there is some, what's that stuff called? Buildup of calcium in the line, the drain line. And when that happens, there's this sensor that goes off and it shuts the whole house down. So I got that fixed right away. And then the window AC here in my studio, after I took a hammer to the one that broke, we replaced with another similar, same brand from Target, $100. Perfect. Great. These little window things are the best, man. I love them. They're a little loud, but hey, they keep the little, what's called the she shed, because it used to be my wife's office and a variety of other things before I took over here for the postcast. But once the she shed, always the she shed. It's about 120 square feet I'm in right here. It's basically a shed that you get at a shed store, and we, made it like a room. We put drywall and insulation, and here we are. So the air conditioning is all good to go. In spite of 100 plus in Riverside, California today, we're all good and nice and cool. So let's take the break, come back, and touch on a few other things that were good about this win for the Dodgers. I thought the bullpen was great, and we'll get into the entirety of the rotation today. Except for Johan, everyone came out pretty much and did their job. So we'll get into that as well. Clutch when they needed to be clutch, and that's the most important part. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. On the weekend, you make us your first listen. During the week, we're your second listen after Jeff and Vince on the Locked On Dodgers podcast, which you can find on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. 7-6-11 Dodgers win and improve to 58-41. Final break, and we'll be right back. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast also brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop. But as the dog days of summer are rolling along, when the Dodgers are off or during the All-Star break or whatever, we need to find other things to get us interested, because, sometimes sports aren't sportsing the way we want them to. So FanDuel lets you make up the sports whenever you want. All you have to do is open an app and dream up bets at any time you are in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's pretty cool. They do it every day, make things a little bit easier on you and more attractive. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. If you're not into baseball, maybe you're into soccer, footy McFooty face, or, the golf or the tennis. There's a lot of that going on this time of year. They've got something for everyone there. So head to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Well, the Dodgers figured out a way to pull this one out, and I think a lot of that has to do with the performance of the bullpen. They've been really good of late, but into the All-Star break, shaky in Detroit. They got pushed around in Philadelphia. That road trip was one to forget for sure. A lot of that, though, had to do with the starting pitching not really doing their job, and therefore the bullpen was a little taxed. I like this Wrobleski kid. I know he's a young rookie, and it's probably way, way, way ahead of schedule, so they need to be cautious with him. But again, I feel like counting pitches when a guy is rolling along, if this guy had a no-hitter going, they still probably would have pulled him out of the game. I think it is ridiculous and stupid. He is a professional baseball player. It's not the first time he's thrown a ball 83 times on one day. It's ridiculous to think you're going to salvage him. We can sit here and pull out or save him from any potential injury. They do this because they think he's going to blow out his arm. We could sit here and name off player after player that they've done this with when they were young, who ultimately threw out their arm at some point in time. So the trying to save young pitchers with pitch count is utterly preposterous and stupid, especially when it's just 83 pitches. He was cruising along. I understand you don't want him to throw 140, but 83, the dominance that he had when you're trying to stretch him out. Let's be honest. Your starting rotation is very, very, very shaky. Glasnow will be back on Wednesday. That's encouraging. I learned today that Dustin May is out for the season, not because of his arm or his shoulder, because he has a torn esophagus. What? And I don't know if Wainwright was joking, but they said he choked on a bone at a steakhouse. I'm like, are you kidding me? Is that real? Does that really keep you from pitching? I'm like, how long does it take to have an esophagus heal? He's out for the season. That's just the craziest thing I've ever heard. Right up there with that one pitcher from, 20, 25 years ago, who it was a Detroit Tiger guy. He was a really stud starter for them. And I think he missed some starts because he said he was in a cab with his arm around the headrest, like as if there was a person sitting next to him, and he left it up there too long, and then his shoulder was hurt. And there was another guy around that time that couldn't pitch because he had carpal tunnel from playing video games. Like, these are ridiculous excuses. The esophagus thing, I don't know. I don't want to belittle that because that could be a real deal. I'm just trying to figure out like how that keeps you from pitching, other than maybe it's tough to breathe for him, and that would make pitching really, really difficult. So I get it. I guess I was surprised and curious to hear more about that. I was also a little saddened by the fact that Dustin May will not be back this year. But anyway, the point is that you need starters. And Robo's been out there doing his job and getting better, improving with each performance. So let him go 100 pitches. Let him continue to pitch when he's dominating. Stop pulling guys out of the game, especially when you bring in Johan and he gives up 2 runs on 3 hits. So Johan, not a good day today. Joe Kelly, first appearance from the IL, looked really good. Had 1 walk, 1 K, and 1 hit. So not great, but very good. Bonda, the first time we've seen him give up anything in quite a while. He gave up 2 earned on 1 hit. That was one of the 2 homers to Oneil, who had 4 RBI on the day. They just kept throwing the ball over the plate to that guy, which after yesterday's performance from Oneil, when he had 3 infield hits, for him to jack 2 out of the yard like that today, I was a little surprised, but definitely frustrated that they didn't pitch around him the same way they just kept throwing balls over the plate to Jarren Duran. Again, an issue. They couldn't get him out. They finally got him out later in the game. Honeywell, 2 very nice innings from that guy. But what's up with the turtleneck? That just looked weird. But hey, man, you wear whatever you want if you're going to come out and pitch like that. That guy was awesome. And he was the only guy that got Jarren Duran out. They walked him. And then that was O'Neill's first home run that came off of Bonda. That was unfortunate. So, that guy was tough. I don't understand why they didn't pitch around him. They pitched around Freddie. Bayo pitched around Freddie at one point in the game, right after the Dodgers gave up an RBI double to Jarren Duran. I'm like, why are you throwing this guy pitches he can hit? Let him, intentionally walk him. put him on base. It's just the guy is locked in right now. He's hitting everything even close to the plate. So it didn't seem to make a lot of sense. The analytics at that point. So I was a little frustrated and surprised. And Mark here is pointing out, yes, that the trachea is for breathing, sir. You don't need to call me sir. You can call me an idiot, whatever. It's fine. So I get it. I get it. It was just a strange story, and I hope he recovers quickly. But according to Roy, he swallowed a steak bone. How does that happen? Chew your food. Like, slow down. What's the hurry? It's crazy. Wow. Back to the rotation of the Dodger pitchers. Bonda gave up 2 on the home run there, but Honeywell was great for 2. Phillips a little shaky. So as I look at this and dig in a little bit more, it's like every other guy had a good outing, which makes this win even that much more impressive, because Phillips also not good. Gave up the home run to Oneil. 2 runs, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, 1 home run. So Phillips, I think there's still some question marks hanging over his head, but Blake Treinen, very good. 1K, the rest zeros, gets the win. He's now 3-2. He took care of business. So I think that the bullpen probably deserves like a C+, today, maybe a B-. But Robo, I thought was great. As far as the battling back, that is the kind of intensity that you like to see. I was about ready to lose it when what's his name? Where's my notes? There's so many notes in this crazy game. Miggy Rojas. All I needed to do was hit a fly ball, bases loaded, 1 out, and it was a 2-0 count. The guy threw a slider down and away, and he checked his swing, and it turned into a very pretty double play because the guy fielded it with his glove. Who was that? Winkowski. Yeah, it was Winkowski. A brilliant play from him. Fielded it with his glove, shoveled it to the catcher, who then on to first base for an inning-ending double play to get out of a very, very big jam. All we needed from Miggy there was a fly ball, and that would have tied the game. So I was a little disappointed that he was not more aggressive. Miggy's a pretty aggressive guy at the plate. Just put the ball in play. The check swings, I mean, save that for later, right? Like, more aggressive. Swing the bat or don't swing the bat. I've never been a huge fan of the check swing. Swing the bat or don't swing the bat. That was unfortunate, but ultimately they got out of it. So all in all, this is a good win. Yes, Mark, there were a few question marks. Evidently Mark has more than a few. All right, fine. But yes, he is the closer. I assume we're talking about Phillips. But they've pulled him at times. I don't know that Dave Roberts and the Dodger coaching staff believes in Evan Phillips. I think there are some question marks, more than a few, according to you. So, yeah, all in all, this is a good win. The scrappy, come from behind, extra inning win. Guys off the bench, everybody pitched in. They got it done when they needed to, and that is the most important thing. As I said, I hope this is one that will linger on in their heads, in their minds. It is something they can hearken back to when they need motivation, when they're in a tough spot. A big win for the Dodgers to win this series against the Red Sox. Back-to-back wins coming out of the All-Star break. 7-6-11. They're now 58-41. Their 30th win at the Ravine. The Red Sox are 53-44, 29-19. That is going to do it for tonight's edition of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. You do that for Jeff and Vince as well. The Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast hosts. You make them your first listen during the week, and you make me your second listen. And then on the weekends, I'm the first listen because those guys are off. So we appreciate you everydayers checking us out here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Tomorrow, another 4:00 start. It'll be James Paxton, the Big Maple, versus Cutter Crawford. Cutter Crawford. I'm betting he throws a lot of cutters. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks for joining me here. We will talk again tomorrow. Have a good night.